This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 450, The Parent's Guide to Making a Will by Cynthia Meyer with financialfinesse.com. And I'm your personal narrator, Joss Marie. Hello, and welcome to the show where I read to you every single weekday. And today, I'll be narrating a post by Cynthia Meyer who explains why making a will is such a crucial step when it comes to raising your kids. Her advice will show you why making a will should be done today and not tomorrow. With that, let's get right into it and start optimizing your life. The Parent's Guide to Making a Will by Cynthia Meyer with financialfinesse.com. Are you raising one of America's 73.6 million children? If yes, do you have a will? If you don't have one, you urgently need one. Don't wait. A will, with a provision which names the person who should be the guardian of your children if you die, is the most important step in making sure your kids are raised by the people you would want to raise them. What happens if you don't have a will? It's not fun for any of us to think about what would happen if we died unexpectedly. That probably won't happen, so you might be tempted to put it off, thinking it's silly to prepare for a worst-case scenario. The problem is, if you die without a will, which names a guardian for your children and specifies what funds are available to care for them, you have zero control over who raises your kids and how much money remains for their support. Your state's courts, with government social services, is going to decide what happens to your kids, who raises them, and how your money is divided up. You need a will, even if your spouse remains, to take care of your children. If you die without a valid will, the courts will decide what happens to your assets according to a preset formula. For example, some to the surviving spouse, some to the kids. Your spouse may not have full access or control over the money allocated to the children. Don't feel sheepish about not putting one together yet. According to a Caring.com survey, nearly half of American parents don't have a will or living trust. Here's how not to be one of them. Make 3 decisions. Once you've decided you are going to make a will, it's relatively straightforward to get started. You'll need to make 3 critical decisions before you write anything up. Number 1, name a guardian. Who is the best person to take care of your children until they are adults in the unlikely event that you are no longer living? Does that person share your values? Do they share your beliefs about parenting? Do they love your children? FYI, in most cases where parents are divorced or unmarried, the default would be for the children to stay with the surviving biological parent. So if you have an objection to that, you'll need to put that in writing. Choose your first and second choices for a personal guardian to include in your will. You'll want to name a legal adult who has the time, energy, and willingness to raise your children if needed. Before naming a personal guardian, make sure you've asked that person and they have agreed to accept the responsibility if needed. Number 2, decide what happens to your money and stuff. Any assets that do not automatically pass according to their title or beneficiary, called beneficiary of law, such as property held as joint tenants with right of survivorship, retirement accounts, or life insurance, are included in this category. Make sure you fully designate what happens to your property, bank accounts, and investments. Minor children won't be able to manage that money for themselves, and you may not want them to have full access to it until they are well-established adults. Who will control the checkbook? Decide if that's an individual. It could be a different person than the guardian if you prefer, or a trust company. And number 3, name an executor. An executor is a person named in your will or appointed by the court if you die without a will, whose job is to carry out the instructions in your will. The executor takes care of your last financial business, such as paying taxes and bills and retitling property according to your will. Don't forget to include a digital executor to control your online and social media accounts, who may or may not be the same as your financial executor. As with a guardian, make sure your executor is someone who is willing and capable to take on that kind of big responsibility. Prepare your will. Once you've made the big 3 decisions, you're ready to write your will. Here are some options for preparing a valid one. Number 1, use an attorney. The biggest advantage to using an attorney to prepare a will is that if you pick a qualified estate planning attorney, you can be more confident that it conforms to the laws of your state. The downside is that it's more expensive. Check your employee benefits. You may have access to a prepaid legal program as a voluntary benefit or access to lower-cost resources through your Employee Assistance Program, EAP. The American Bar Association also offers an online state-by-state guide to wills and estates. Or number 2, use an online legal resource. If you need a basic will without a lot of personalization, an online resource may be fit for your situation. Check with your EAP to see if you have access to any free or low-cost will preparation services. There are also online will preparation sites such as nolo.com and legalzoom.com where you can make a will for a reasonable price. And communicate your plans. Finally, a will won't help if no one knows you have one. Let a few trusted people, such as a sibling, parent, or close friend, know that you've prepared a will and where they can find it if it's needed. Make sure your executor knows how to access your will and has contact information where needed. You just listened to the post titled, The Parent's Guide to Making a Will by Cynthia Meyer with FinancialFinesse.com. As daunting as it may be, making a will shouldn't be seen as a depressing activity. The unexpected can happen at any point, and by then, it's too late to go back in time. Making a will helps you ensure that your children receive the financial support and guardian that you specify. By taking steps to create a will and inform people you trust about the existence of the will and where they can find it, you're helping to ensure the security of your children. And just a really quick reminder, our next book drawing is actually tonight at midnight. You're automatically entered if you're already a newsletter subscriber, or you can learn more and sign up for free right at oldpodcast.com. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. Have a phenomenal weekend, and I'll see you again next week with some more content where your optimal life awaits.